For years, hundreds of thousands of expeditions have tried to reveal all the mysteries that exist on Earth. However, it seems that the more we investigate, the more questions and strange things arise. Join us as we explore the latest and most controversial archaeological discoveries. Number 1. Old odometer. The odometer in your car keeps track of the distance you travel when you drive. More generally speaking, an odometer can be used to determine the distance from one place to another. When it was invented, it revolutionized mapping and route planning in the ancient world. We have Vitruvius of ancient Rome to thank for inventing the odometer, a task he completed just over 2,000 years ago. His first odometer looked a bit like a wheelbarrow with an enlarged wheel full of pebbles. Each time the wheel turned, a pebble fell into a small bucket beneath the device. Because Vitruvius measured the precise diameter of the wheel before mounting it on the device, he knew exactly how much distance was covered with each rotation. Therefore, he could determine the distance between 2 points by counting the number of pebbles that the odometer deposited in the bucket. After he came up with this ingenious invention, travel planning in the Roman Empire no longer involved as much guesswork and maps became much more accurate. Today's odometers may no longer use pebbles, but they still work on the same principle as 2,000 years ago. Number 2. Ruins of a Roman library. Cologne is one of the oldest cities in Germany, with a history dating back to the mid-1st century. That makes it the best place in the country to look for ancient Roman ruins like this incredible ancient Roman library. The library has been hidden under the streets of Cologne's busy center for centuries and was finally found after a Protestant church was demolished in 2017. Archaeologists were invited to come and examine the site after the demolition, but it was not until 2019 that the first signs of the ancient church were found. While you or I would have a hard time identifying these crumbling walls as belonging to a library, the key clue for archaeologists is the placement of small holes in the walls, into which scrolls would be placed for storage. Experts believe there may have been up to 20,000 scrolls stored within the library, which would have easily made it the largest library in Germany in ancient times. In fact, it might even be the oldest library in Germany. Number 3. Secrets of Ayans Castle. Archaeologists have been excavating at the Ayans Castle site in Turkey for more than 30 years. During that time, they have rarely found anything more significant or unique than the ornamental bronze wall plaque found there in September 2022. The castle is a hotspot for treasure hunters because it was built for the Urartian king, Sarduri II, who governed his territories from there between 680 and 693 BC. The bronze plaque was probably chosen personally by the king or a member of the royal family and would have hung on a wall as decoration. Fragments of similar plates have been found elsewhere in and around the castle ruins, but this is the only one that has emerged from the ground in one piece. The discovery of the bronze plaque came when archaeologists identified and unearthed 4 new interconnected rooms buried in the hillside where the castle once stood. There is still a lot of work to be done inside those rooms. Experts say there is so much to excavate at Ayans Castle that there will still be archaeologists there for another 30 years. Number 4. Prehistoric Engravings. The Sahara is the most famous desert in the world and has become synonymous with extreme heat. In February 2021, prehistoric carvings of crocodiles and giraffes were found in the northern regions of the Sahara, proving that people used to live here, as did the animals they carved into the rocks. It is a reminder that this part of the desert was once green and has gone through multiple periods of greening throughout its long history. There is even a Stone Age painting in a cave showing people swimming, suggesting the presence of rivers and lakes here. Scientists are working on a theory that suggests the Sahara has fertile periods that last 5,000 years and then hot, dry periods that last just as long. The last fertile period could have been crucial in the migratory movement of early humans across North Africa. In the future, our descendants may have difficulty imagining the green, lush Sahara of their time, compared to the arid, dry desert we know today. Number 5. Hidden Byzantine Door. Mytilene Castle on the Greek island of Lesbos is not a new archaeological discovery. It has been standing since the 6th century. What is new, however, is the discovery of a large Byzantine gate hidden within the castle, which somehow went unnoticed until March 2021. This was an extremely grand gate for the 6th century. It is 3 meters high, 2 meters wide, and another 2 meters deep. There was once a wooden door embedded in the marble frame, but it has long since rotted away. However, the ornamental engravings around it, including ribbon patterns and convex waves, are still visible. The castle was extensively developed and expanded over several centuries until the 15th, but the gate is believed to be a relic from one of its early construction phases. It could even be connected to the ancient residential settlement of Meladoni, which is known to have existed within the castle walls but has disappeared without a trace. Perhaps it was just behind this door, which has been buried under bricks and ashes since someone built a bathhouse on top of it during the 15th century. Number 6. Mysterious Masonic Scarf. In 1863, a 16-meter-long schooner named Daring was built at Manga Ojai, New Zealand. Just 2 years later, he crashed on the shores of his home country during a severe storm. There it remained until the remarkably well-preserved wreck was exposed by shifting sands on the beach in May 2018. The massive shipwreck is the oldest in New Zealand and has proven to be a rich source of discoveries for archaeologists. One of the most enigmatic artifacts recently found inside it is this handkerchief, which was found inside the ship's bilges in late 2020. It has since been restored, and archaeologists and historians have been able to identify several Masonic symbols on its surface. However, that does not necessarily mean that its owner was a Mason. The symbols overlap with both Christian and Jewish symbols. The handkerchief was likely printed using engraved steel plates of the type that would be used to make banknotes, pointing to a likely British origin for the silk handkerchief. This means that the handkerchief and possibly its owner were also very far from home when the ship sank. Number 7. Antique gold leaf figures. Archaeologists in Sweden are still baffled by a recent discovery they made at the Aska site. Within the remains of what appears to be a large hall mounted on a platform, they have found 22 squares of gold leaf that, when carefully opened and examined, show humanoid figures embracing. They could be representations of people dancing. Although they can confirm that the ornate creations are approximately 1,300 years old, they have no idea who made them or why. Fragments of even more of them have been found, so there may be more than 30 when they finish rebuilding them all. Gold leaf figures like these have been found elsewhere in Sweden, but there is no mention or descriptions of them in any written records of the time. They are always found in groups, suggesting that they were taken to the same place and left there. That could make them offerings, but they could also have been decorations for posts in large banquet halls. They are definitely an ancient art form, even if it is an art form we know nothing about. Number 8. The Piedra del Pinol, or Peñón de Guatapi, is an imposing rock formation in Antioquia, Colombia, which rises 200 meters above the ground and reaches 2,135 meters above sea level. Located 80 kilometers east of Medellin, near the Guatapi Reservoir, this monumental granite stone is one of the main tourist attractions in the region. Thousands of visitors climb it annually, climbing 740 steps in a natural crevice to reach the top. From there, you can enjoy spectacular panoramic views of the reservoir and surrounding mountains, ideal for photography and landscape observation. La Piedra del Pinol has a history rich in legends and territorial disputes between the municipalities of El Pinol and Guatapi. It also has cultural and spiritual significance for local indigenous communities. The area has a developed tourist infrastructure, including restaurants, souvenir shops, and recreational activities such as boating and water sports on the reservoir. This combination of natural beauty, physical challenge, and tourist facilities makes Piedra del Pinol a fascinating destination to explore in Colombia. Number 9. A Vision of India. The Statues and Monuments of Warangal. For thousands of years, distant India has captivated people with its exciting history and varied culture, which has given rise to numerous impressive monuments. Among them is the mysterious Gopakal Hill, which is one of the largest and most important rock-cut Jain monuments in the country. Popularly known as X-Bazar Ki Babadi, the place is associated with several Hindu deities. According to legends, the gods would have intervened in the creation of the statues up to 18 meters high that surround Gopakal Hill, some of which date back to the 6th century, a time when people's technical possibilities were limited. So how could such impressive mounds and statues have been carved out of the rock? With divine help, so far, at least, there is no explanation. Number 10. Uptons Cave. Upton's Chamber Cave continues to baffle archaeologists because until now no one knows who built it. The cave, located in Massachusetts, is a 14-foot-long tunnel built into a hill that opens out from a forest, and its interior is quite spooky. The tunnel leads to a dark, igloo-like, vaulted underground chamber. What's interesting is that the entrance to the chamber aligns with the sun during the summer solstice, a surprising feature. Some experts believe that the cave was built by a local leather tanner in the 19th century. What is even more mysterious is the fact that more than 300 similar strange stone chambers have been found throughout New England. Archaeologists continue to debate about it. Some believe the caves were built by European settlers, while others believe they were built for ritual chambers by Native Americans of the time. Number 11. The Soto Dolman. The Soto Dolman is a 5,000-year-old Spanish mystery that probably won't be solved anytime soon. There are around 200 Neolithic-era ritual burial sites in the Spanish province of Huelva, but none are as magnificent as this incredible underground structure. The name Dolman de Soto comes from Armando de Soto Morillas, who discovered the enormous passage tomb while trying to build a new house on his land in Andalusia in 1922. The great German archaeologist Hugo Obermeier was summoned to the site to excavate and found 8 sets of human remains buried in the fetal position, surrounded by funerary objects. Objects include cups, daggers, and marine fossils. Burying people with marine fossils is an unusual practice that has never been observed in Spain before, and its significance is unknown. Equally mysterious are the 43 standing stones surrounding the dolmen, each of which is covered in engravings depicting knives, cups, human figures, and abstract shapes. 100 years after the discovery, we still know nothing about who was buried here or what the carefully engraved symbols mean in relation to burials. Number 12. The mysterious churches of Lalibela, Ethiopia. In Ethiopia, there is a city called Lalibela, which at first glance might not seem very interesting, except for its churches. However, these churches are not only interesting, they baffle even modern scientists. The reason? They were carved from stone and volcanic rock, and each of the 3 churches is unique and inimitable, distinguished by its style. Some of these structures are situated in pits and surrounded by rocks, while others are carved directly into the cliffs. According to scientists' calculations, they were rebuilt in the 12th and 13th centuries AD, and it only took 25 years to build them from scratch. This begs the question, how were the ancient inhabitants of Ethiopia, who were not known for their advanced knowledge and skills, able to create such skillful and incredible churches with primitive tools in such a short time? Researchers still do not fully understand this riddle, but locals have their own answer: the help of divine forces. According to local legend, Both ordinary workers and angels descended to earth to participate in the creation of these churches. The collaboration between humans and celestial beings gave rise to architectural monuments that remain a mystery today. In Africa, there are more mysterious buildings than most people know about, and the churches of Lalibela are a unique architectural treasure on the continent. Number 13. The mysterious rock sculptures of the App Store. At the age of 30, he suffered a serious stroke that left him deaf and dumb and paralyzed in half of his body. To recover from this severe blow, he retired to the cliffs of Rosenberg to lead a hermit's life. Ignoring the physical limitations caused by the stroke, he began carving hundreds of fascinating and grotesque faces and figures in the rock starting in 1870. To create them, approximately 300 rock sculptures, the artist was inspired by various legends and myths of local pirates and fishermen. The scenes mainly represent the life of the Ruthena family, a fishing family who lived between the 15th and 18th centuries. In particular, a high number of sculptures and their great attention to detail continue to occupy researchers to this day. The still unresolved question is how Epifano, with his physical limitations, was able to carry out such heavy work for decades. Number 14. Yenchan Mountain, a quarry full of secrets. When it comes to cultural and historical places, ancient China cannot be missing from this video. At the back of Yang Mountain, 20 kilometers east of Nanjing, lies the legendary Yang Quarry. Its origin dates back to the ruler Shun, who founded the Ming dynasty in 1368 and proclaimed Nanjing as the capital of his empire. In the decades that followed, the Yangchang Quarry became the empire's main source of income and provided the material for gigantic construction projects that changed the face of Nanjing forever. In particular, the gigantic mausoleum commissioned in 1405 and never completed continues to fascinate Chinese researchers to this day. However, the quarry is also surrounded by dark legends. For example, locals say to this day that workers who did not produce the daily quota of gravel of at least 33 shin were executed on the spot, a myth that led to a nearby village being named Tu, which means tumulus. Number 15. The Underground Church of St. John. Our next exciting story takes us to France, more specifically to the idyllic town of Odin. Here is the underground monolithic stone-carved Church of St. John, which delights historians and tourists. According to what scholars have discovered, the church was originally designed to house valuable religious objects that were kept in a reliquary and protected from thieves. In the following centuries, the St. John Church was also used as a cemetery. Some historical sources suggest that the workers who carved the church directly into the limestone rock were inspired by returning crusaders who brought back stories of underground temples and treasure chambers. Although the baptismal font in the center of the church was probably designed between the 4th and 9th centuries, it is possible that the church did not receive its final form until the 12th century. Number 16. Cambayano, a town ahead of its time. Without a doubt, Chavín de Huántar is one of the most famous attractions in Peru. This ancient site, located 20 kilometers south of Cajamarca, was built between 1500 and 1000 BC, according to historians. The secret star of the site is an aqueduct that impressively illustrates that the site was built by a people far ahead of their time. In comparison, the first Roman aqueducts did not see the light of day until 312 BC. In Chavín, the path from the aqueduct was equipped with steps carved in stone. Also innovative is the ancient site, which includes extensive canals that were used to transport water from the plateaus to the valleys below, a vital technology for survival, especially in times of water scarcity. Number 17. The Maiden Tower in Azerbaijan. The people of the Middle Ages had built exciting structures in the capital Baku. The so-called Maiden Tower is located in the old town of the metropolis, dates back to the 12th century and, together with the 15th century palace, The Maiden Tower forms a complex of historical monuments that was included in the list of historical monuments of UNESCO World Heritage in 2001. Inside the tower, there is, among other things, a museum that tells the exciting history of the Azeri capital, Baku. The Maiden Tower is one of the most characteristic national buildings of Azerbaijan and is surrounded by a multitude of legends and myths deeply rooted in the country's history. Based on these legends, the Azeri artist created a Baku Maiden's Tower ballet in 1940, which has remained popular in the modern era and is one of Azerbaijan's best-known cultural exports.